Hello friends, how are you? In this video we are going to talk about XCN coin. What time of day is it? It's XN time. And in today's video we're going to discuss what we're seeing here on the charts. As discussed in my previous video, we're in a very important area on the charts right now. So we'll be discussing why this is important. I'll also be giving you my price prediction for the coming days and weeks for XCN. So make sure you stay tuned for all of these. If you're a new viewer, welcome to this channel. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button and subscribe for more. If you're a returning viewer, as always, welcome to the channel. It's great to see you all here. So we're going to dive straight into this video because of course everybody is on the edge of their seats right now because as you can see, we've been seeing this resistance here for the longest time on its coin. Of course, it's been to the downside, which means it's been keeping us in this downtrend for almost 2 months. Of course, it's been to the upside. Just a few days ago, saw a breakout. You can look at the prices on March 11th here. This beautiful pump happened, which took its coin right above this resistance line. And we've actually come down to retest it on a number of occasions, and we're consolidating at the moment. We've also seen a support which looks a little bit like this. Of course, if we add the price lows to this downtrend, you can see it starts to form something like this. And of course, the support has been tested on a number of different occasions. And if you add these two lines together, it forms a falling wedge pattern. Now, when we see a breakout of the falling wedge, we would expect that the price target from this would be the first test of support and the first test of resistance. The distance between them, we drag the measuring tool to where you see the breakout, and that forms our price target. If this falling wedge is to be respected, then I would say we're in quite a critical area, because if I were to remove this and you see what's happening right now, it would certainly invalidate if prices continue to fall here. So we see that if prices do something like this, it will invalidate the falling wedge price target. And although we could still go higher here on Onyx coin, we don't have any set price targets. So what I'm looking at here in the very short term is this little consolidation pattern, and it's quite nice because it's a little triangle within the 1 hour time frame. Here's what has happened over the last few hours, and if we see a breakout from this triangle, then that could certainly tell us if we're going to break down and invalidate this whole breakout that we've seen once again. Of course, the last time we saw a breakout from this downtrend, unfortunately we saw a fake out where prices fell below the resistance. So if we see a breakdown below this support line on this little triangle that's sitting at 13.1, then we could be looking at a scenario here, and it's back to the drawing board for a little bit before we see another one on this coin. Look for a breakout. Of course, it's still possible, but we just have to wait a little bit longer though. If we do see a breakout from this triangle to the upside, not only does that give us an immediate price target, but also the distance it takes us to move to the upside. Of course, it's only a little mini triangle, so it's a 15% trade. Not only that, we'll see that we'll also more than likely see a price target from this falling wedge. And just remember guys, this is big price up on Onyx coin. That's a 170% trade. If we see a breakout from this little triangle, of course, if you're looking for a good place to trade Onyx coin, look no further than MEX exchange. This is the exchange that I use for all of my trading because they have some of the lowest trading fees. They don't require KYC to get started, and for a limited time they're giving each new user that signs up using the link below a free $20. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, head on over to the link below, click on fill in your details. It takes less than a minute to do this. Make some deposit either fiat or crypto into your account, and then you can start trading immediately with that $20. So of course guys, thank you for your support. We'll come back to that in this video. So of course, this is the setup that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Of course, what convinces me of the fact that we should see this upside is the MACD. The MACD is very close to a breakout on the 1-day chart. Of course, I say breakout because the two lines, the orange line that you see here and the blue line, are actually just about to cross now. When we see a crossover on the MACD on the 1-day chart, it's pretty much a buy and sell signal. For example, the last time we saw a clear crossover on the MACD, the price of Onyx coin was near the top there. So if you sold the last time the crossover happened, you would have bought here. We might have sold near the top on Onyx, and now the coin is going to give us a buy signal on the MACD. Of course, we are very close to a crossover, and what we really need to look out for in order to lock that crossover is the next couple of days. And now we are very close to having another crossover again on the MACD. This time it is going from bearish to bullish, and of course it will give us a beautiful buy signal. The thing we really need to look out for in order to lock that crossover, what we are looking for is this candle. Today is bullish, and hopefully tomorrow as well. We really need 2 green candles on the chart. If we start to move back downwards, the gap between the two lines will start to increase once again, and it won't be a clear crossover. But if we see bullish momentum on its coin in the next couple of days, then in my opinion, this crossover will be locked in, and we should see more bullish momentum in Onyx coin, and that should give us the momentum we need to move towards these higher levels. Here, of course, the price target is at 3.6. If Onyx coin can go above that, which I still really believe is possible. So we'll look at the price targets of these Fibonacci levels, certainly beyond 3.6 cents. cents. We have the immediate next target is the previous high on Onyx coin, which is just under 5 cents if we can zoom in after that. So these are the three targets. The free fib, which is definitely sitting above the highs. The first fib is sitting at 11.5. The next fib is sitting at around 17 to 18 cents, which is the previous all-time high on Onyx coin. So that's a good price target. And finally, the golden fib 1.618 is telling us that we should be looking at up to 35 cents on Onyx coin. So definitely very, very bullish targets from the fib levels. And with that being said, I think if you're a long-term buyer, if you're looking to buy its coin to hold for at least a few months or the next few years, then now is almost a good time to buy. Of course, maybe we haven't touched the absolute bottom on its coin, but I believe so. We are very close to the top. Of course, we are looking at a number of sources that are telling us that we could see a bottom in the markets. Of course, the first one is the Fear and Greed Index. This is the one we always resort to because, it measures the sentiment in the market and it is quite a reliable signal. When we see extreme fear in the markets, it is usually a good time to buy, and when we see extreme greed, it is a good time to sell. We know that because if you correlate this Fear and Greed Index to the Bitcoin price, which you can see in gray on the chart, each time we have seen a drop in sentiment. So take September 2013, for example, we also saw a bottom in the Bitcoin price before things started to move upwards again. In August 2014, we saw a bottom drop to 26 on the Fear and Greed Index. This is the time we saw Bitcoin drop below 50,000 before it started to move higher in the coming months, 100,000. So as you can see, when Bitcoin started to make that all-time high, the sentiment was also at extreme greed here. So right now, what we have seen from the Fear and Greed Index is that over the last couple of days, we have seen a record low sentiment. We have seen the Fear and the Greed Index touch extreme fear for the first time ever. It went down to 15. And obviously, this corresponded to the price of 76,000 on the Bitcoin chart. We have just recovered a little bit from that. But as I said, this could be a generational drop in the Fear and Greed Index. And if you believe that greed and extreme greed are going to come back into the markets now, is a great time, in my opinion. Certainly, I personally think it is very likely that we will see the market return to greed and extreme greed sometime in 2025. And obviously, that would correspond to crypto prices going much higher. And so I actually believe that now crypto prices are at an all-time low across the board. Certainly not just XM4, but also for almost everything right now. Ethereum, for example, is below 2,000, which is very strange to me, considering that I thought Ethereum would go to at least $7,000 this cycle. Of course, there are a few other things I want to show you guys. The XCN over XRP chart is one chart that I've been keeping a close eye on. Well, if you like XCN Coin and you're a fan of it, then subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification.